Good business decisions are based on data. With Corticon Rules, you can enrich and store data to make good business decisions. To access data, you have several options. EDC is the Enterprise Data Connector, but we call it the Easy Data Connector because it generates the queries needed to access data for your rules. ADC is the Advanced Data Connector. With ADC, you have more control, so you can tune your queries for better performance. Database administrators opt for ADC access to have more control over their queries through custom SQL. Batch processing tasks requiring large volumes of data take advantage of the flexibility that ADC provides. For new applications and systems of record that don't provide direct database connectivity, Corticon Rules can use REST services to access data. It's worth noting that REST connectivity is query-only. Let's look at a simple eligibility use case that uses a combination of EDC and a set of REST calls to determine whether a customer qualifies for a store credit card. If the rules determine that the customer has good credit, then the rule can approve the customer. If the customer is approved, then the rule stores the customer's new credit line in the company's database based on information retrieved from the company's database and from multiple credit bureaus through REST API calls. In this example, the Easy Data Connector is used to enrich and store information about the customer. In the same rule flow, the data for the customer's current credit score is retrieved using REST services. The credit bureau data is used by the rules to determine whether the applicant's credit history meets the requirements for a store credit card. Let's look at a slightly more complicated data access scenario. Rules may need to examine data from 100,000 patients to determine which qualify for an experimental drug trial. In this example, you would choose ADC for database access so you could have full control over the queries. Insurance eligibility is determined using REST calls, and these calls return the necessary insurance approvals. Whether the use case is simple or complex, Corticon has data access options that work for you. By the way, when you create a data source, you have the ability to easily import the schema for the data source into Corticon Studio as a vocabulary. Having a vocabulary makes it easy to match the names and data types directly to the data source. Rules are then created based on the vocabulary and tested locally. When the rules are added to a rule flow, a service callout uses the data source to read from the database and to write to the database. To get started with Corticon Data Access, visit the Corticon Information Hub. In the Best Practices topic, you can read more about the differences between EDC, ADC, and REST. In the table of contents, there are 3 Getting Started topics, one for EDC, ADC, and REST. These match the samples available from within Corticon Studio. This concludes our look at how to access data from Corticon Rules.